episode 137. Are these comics going to make good film and television shows? Let's find out. We got Neo Before Zod. We got the new Avengers. And we have Arkham Horror. Let's check them out right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. I am your host, Frank Zanca. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. And thank you so much for coming and joining the channel. Remember to give me that like, give me that thumbs up, and if you can, subscribe, please do. It is free. It helps out the channel. And remember too that I am also a game designer, and we are going to be releasing Mythlords Classic Monsters card game featuring all of the classic monsters that you can play as. It is a deck builder area control game. It's very fun and very easy to learn. And you can see all the artwork on the back. It's pretty cool. We're going to be launching this on Kickstarter in October to celebrate Halloween. So check out the link in the description below where you can sign up to follow along and get notified when we open up in October. All right, so let's jump into Neo Before Zod. But before we do that, I just want to let you know this channel is not just for comic readers, comic collectors. This is also for people that are not, but are movie fans and want to see what Marvel and DC and the independents are doing. So when it does come to the screen, you can say, oh yeah, I saw that. That's pretty cool. And so as you know, a lot of movies are coming from comics nowadays, even from the independent level. And, and for television as well, especially the streaming services, like Who Heard of the Boys, before Prime picked it up, but it's been a comic for a long time. Also, in the description below, you can find, if you wanted to jump to one of those, there are chapter sections below if you wanted to jump over to one of the other comics, as well as watching all the way through. All right, so let's jump into Neo Before Zod. This is by Joe Casey. This was originally supposed to be a 12-issue series, which I thought was kind of long, but I guess sales have not been that great. So they cut it off at issue 8. Which is, in my opinion, detrimental because this feels like even though it's the last issue of the series, it feels like a filler issue. It's very, very strange and very frustrating and disappointing. So we start out with, well, first of all, Zod, Ursa, which was his wife, was killed, and he exiled his son, which ended up hooking up with Sinestro's son. They became the Sinister Sons. I didn't read any of that. The artwork looked horrible, and I really didn't care. So Zod left. I don't know what happened to Kandor. I guess he had the bottle city, but that just disappeared. I don't know what happened to that. So he ended up taking over this prison transport ship and killed everybody on it except for the prisoners, of which then he recruited to be his army. So that's where we're at now, but the ship has been damaged, and they're kind of just floating around right now. They don't really have the pieces to put it back together or the parts to repair it. So so that's the situation there. And all of a sudden, and he also fought the Emerald Empress, which that was kind of silly how it ended, but it was good to see the Emerald Empress back again because we haven't seen her in a while. So all of a sudden, Sinestro's outside, and the first thing he thinks to do is, of course, to attack him. And Sinestro has the red ring on instead because it's a mood ring. So it's kind of like a lightsaber nowadays. But anyway, he breaks through the contract. They fight. They get a couple of good shots in both directions. The prisoners, of course, saying, well, is he dead yet? It continues on, so we have a battle that continues for quite a while with nobody really getting the upper hand. Finally, they decide they're just going to talk. He invites him inside, so they're like, we're coming in. And they see the destruction. Sinestro ends up telling him that if you go to this place, you'll be able to find the parts you need, and it's not that far away. See how it's basically a filler issue? We have a fight scene that's extraneous just so Sinestro can come inside and tell him where the parts are. So now they're chugging along, Sinestro, and this is where I thought that they were going to describe because he says, I know your son is with my son somewhere, and I thought they were going to go into the Super Sons, Sinister Son stuff, but they didn't. The one line is all there is for that. And then Sinestro leaves. It's like, why did he get there to begin with? Couldn't they find the information without that? Just to throw a battle scene in there that ended up being meaningless? I don't know. So anyway, they find this planet that has a whole bunch of parts on it, and while they're scavenging the parts, he is having mental issues, seeing Jor-El in his mind, and he attacks Jor-El as Jor-El continues to taunt him, telling him how unsteady he is. But finally, the Jor-El in his mind turns to like a statue, and he ends up destroying it. I guess for us as readers, telling us that he's gotten over this phobia or whatever, or this mental construct of Jor-El, and now he's going to make everyone, before Zod, he's going to go wage war. And that's where the series ends. It says the end for now. So I mean, that's it right there. The end for now. So I have no idea what's going on now. This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Just end a miniseries without ending it with a filler issue. It's like, yeah, we're not going to produce the rest of the 4. Just put the end for now there. So anyway, I was disappointed with it. Zod can never be a film by itself anyway. It'd have to have Superman in it. Although this was an interesting idea of delving into a villain, which we haven't really seen before with this character. So, unfortunately, it's just a bad ending for what could have been a decent one. All right, so let's jump into Avengers. I have not been getting Avengers at all. I got the first after Jason Aaron's total screw-up with what he was doing, which lasted forever. Once a new writer came on, in this case, Jed MacKay, I said, okay, I'll try it out. And it was just horrendous. It was just bad. I got through 2 issues. I just couldn't go any further. It was so bad. But anybody who knows me knows that one of my favorite characters is Storm, especially for the X-Men. And she is my favorite X-Men. Everybody else is Wolverine. My favorite is Storm. So anything that's got Storm on it, I will try. So now that they brought her in to the Avengers, I bought it. And it's with issue number 17. And this is kind of starting out with a new storyline after the whole Blood Hunt thing. I didn't collect the Blood Hunt thing. I didn't care. I am going to do a review on the last Blood Hunt comic because it did have a piece that is going to traverse into other storylines, especially with Doctor Doom. And as you know, the Doom right now is a hot topic. So with Robert Downey Jr. So anyway, this is the repercussions of that, and we have this attack on this volcano, but we don't know why until later. All right, so now we go into this. So I guess what Jed MacKay wanted to do is he wanted to create, you know how they have the watchtower for Justice League? He wanted a watchtower in space for the Avengers. So he created this living island, I guess. This living ship that, like a living city, they called it. But the city is a ship. So it's in space, and they talk to it and all this other stuff. And it's a really stupid idea, and I don't know why he wanted to copy the Justice League, but he did. So they're all discussing. Carol is the leader because we can't have Captain America in here, and of course Falcon America is no leader, and she is berating everyone, basically saying that we're the Avengers, this Blood Hunt thing shouldn't have happened. Everybody else is like, yeah, but we saved lives. He's like, yeah, but we also lost lives, and it's this big debate, and that's where it should have ended. But instead, That debate continues throughout the majority of this issue. I was just over it. It's kind of like what he does with Moon Knight, where he has them all go and talk to the psychiatrist. That's what this was like. So T'Challa's like, we disagree with you, and other people are like, we agree, blah, 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 who cares? Then we have to break them off all into their own little sections where they have the same conversation. So Tony goes to talk to Carol and says, hey, are you falling off the wagon? You need a drink because guilt is also an addiction, blah, blah, blah. I really didn't need any of this. Then we have T'Challa talking to the ship and telling, having the same conversation. It totally innocuous. It doesn't need to be there. And then we have Scarlet Witch and Vision having the same conversations, like, oh, we feel lost, blah, blah. Over and over. I do not need to see every single conversation with these people. It's just silly. So we have, now we're seeing little pieces of Hyperion. As he's kind of traversing everything, he's going to start causing trouble. And then we have Captain America here, Falcon America, talk to Storm in Atlanta. Why is Storm in Atlanta? Not that I won't mind seeing her pass overhead, but why is she in Atlanta? Because the school is in New York. I don't know why she's in the South right now, but she is. And she's like, we feel like flying. She's like, I always feel like flying. Look at me go. And he keeps saying, well, we need other representation in the Avengers. We need mutant representation in the Avengers. Why? No clue. No clue why he's coming to this conclusion. There is no story that leads up to this. He's just coming with out of the blue. So there should have been a lead up to this where they need somebody from the X-Men on the Avengers, because technically they have a mutant already. What do you call Wanda? Because she is a daughter of a mutant? Isn't she not a mutant? She's the daughter of Magneto. Anyway, I'm very confused by any of that. But she's like, I want you to join the Avengers. And she's like, really? I'll make it crackle and pop in the sky right now because I'm so excited. I don't know, man. So anyway, so now we get the, I guess they're seeing Hyperion through the radar system. Thor sees Hyperion start threatening things. And I really just like the faces on here. I think the art is not very good. I mean, look at that face on Carol. That is just god-awful. She's like, security alert! I don't know anybody that talks that way. Security alert! And Hyperion is just going to crash into the earth, I guess. And that's the end. So, I don't know. I don't know. But from my reading of this to you guys, you can tell I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to get the next issue just to see what happens with Hyperion. I think adding a couple of, like, Beast was always part of the Avengers for a while. I mean, so adding a couple of people into the Avengers and having that thing with, the cohesion with the X-Men and the Avengers, I think kind of works for a short period of time. I don't think that she should be a permanent member, but again, you already have Wanda, but whatever. And it's let's see where it goes. I'll get another couple of issues, see if the Hyperion thing works, and then I'll say whether this can make a good film or not. Right now, I'm like, oh, this has really got jagged edges. I think the writing is kind of poor, but we'll see. All right, so let's jump into Arkham Horror. I am a big fan of Arkham Horror. This is the first time I've ever seen this. So this is Asmodee and Fantasy Flight. That is the publishers of the board game. So this is the first time and card game. This is the first time I've ever seen a board game / card game get licensed to do a comic book. So this is done by Dark Horse. So that's pretty amazing. I'm really excited about this. So I have a game. There is a Arkham Horror card game. There's an Arkham Horror board game, but there's also a game called Mansions of Madness, which is also Arkham. It's a division of Arkham Horror, and it has an app with it. And the app tells you, because it's a co-op game, so you're playing against the computer even though you're on a board. And it tells you what tiles you need. It tells you what monsters come in. It tells you the story, because it's all totally story-based. I like Cullen Bunn, who wrote this. I like his Sixth Gun stuff. As you know, I like supernatural. I like westerns in general, but that was a supernatural western. And, Mike did a movie called Sixth Gun. He has a comic series called The Sixth Gun, which was also supposed to be a pilot. They were supposed to make that into a pilot. I don't know if it ever happened. But my problem with this, it seems like Cullen Bunn never played the game, or any of the games, because it doesn't feel like the game at all. And he could have done it. He has a piece of it, but not all the way through. So let me get into this. So this is the first issue, so I don't have to tell you what happened in the past. But Arkham Horror is based on of Lovecraft stuff. So all Cthulhu, all that stuff. That's what Arkham Horror is. So usually it's investigators, but it's also supernatural. So there's cultists and all this stuff. But usually it's made up of a gunslinger of some type and a detective. But it's also supernatural people, like people that cast spells and things to that effect. So you have fighters fighting with kind of walking alongside as part of a team these other supernatural people that can cast spells and things like that. And sometimes you have people that are book smart or about lore and stuff like that. So it's kind of like D&D, where you have a group. It's a party that's going into this adventure. And they all have different personalities, and you don't know if they work or not and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a superhero group, right? And he doesn't have that here. So he's already lost the essence of what Arkham Horror is, even as he starts this. And I don't understand why. But anyway, we start out with a party, and there's this woman in this blue dress that we're going to keep following around here. I think her name is Jenny or something like that. Yes, her name is Jenny. And she has a sister that's in this red dress here. And the sister disappears. And that's the basis for this. The artwork is not very good. Yeah, anything that has to do with tendrils and stuff like that is all, Lovecraft stuff. But anyway, she goes to see this detective, and she asks the detective's going to help her. And this is important here because later on it's referenced. So we have the cultist there, and it's a cult by this family, and I forgot her name is Lizzie or something like that. Abigail. Her name is Abigail, and she's referenced later. And the editor on this is poor, because notice that she's sitting on this side of the booth. But on literally the next page, she's on the opposite side. Now, he's sitting where she was just sitting. What the hell? This is... You could already tell that I'm not happy with this book, unfortunately. So they go to investigate. He decides to take the case. And the investigation leads them into this abandoned house, or whatever it is, this abandoned mansion, which would be normal for this kind of thing, with no lights. And it takes place in the 20s or 30s. And they go into the basement. Of course, they got to go into the basement. Yes, let's find where it's really dark and dingy. I do like all the, the dust / fog on the floor. And they keep going deeper and deeper into that, which again would be something Arkham Horror based. and they find all of these cultists that are dead. Well, they believe to be dead. And it looks like all the life had been sucked out of them. They were trying to, bring about this demonic creature, and they take that, and the guy is talking to him even though he's mostly dead, and the thing falls, and they all just turn to dust. So, yeah, there's that. Okay, so she's in like a 20s type dress, okay? Just keep that in mind. Where the purses are like this tiny back in the day, okay? Just keep that in mind. I hope I didn't pass it. Yes, I did. So let me go back a couple of pages here. So she pulls out twin Berettas because they didn't have Glocks back then. So she pulls out twin Berettas that are probably 5 pounds a piece, maybe 4 pounds a piece. Where was she carrying them? Where? And she even did that in the beginning of the book too. Where is she pulling these guns from? Should I even ask? It's crazy. Yeah, right in the beginning too, she pulls them out. Where are these guns coming from? And they never explain anything about her past to even tell me that she's a gun wielder. It makes absolutely no sense. And all of a sudden, at the end, they're attacked by these creatures. It's just horrible. This is so bad. And then, of course, it gives us some cards and stuff like that for the game. But yeah, it's bad, and it's unfortunate because I was like so excited to see this, a board game coming to life here in a comic, and it doesn't have the heart of the actual IP. So Cullen Bunn, I wish you had done a little bit more research and played the game. So let's do a recap. So right now, no, that's pretty bad. Arkham Horror is pretty bad. I would stay away from it at this point. I probably will get a couple more issues to see if maybe he can turn it around. But right now, it's going down a bad road. Avengers, I'm going to hold. I like Storm, but I don't think Jed MacKay can write the Avengers. And this is also disappointed with it because it doesn't end. It just we're just cutting it off at 8. We got 4 more issues left. Well, nope, not anymore. All right, so right now I have no recommendations in there. All right, well, let me know what you guys think. Remember to give me that like, give me that thumbs up if you can. Also, if you can subscribe, please do. It's something you can do that's pretty much free and helps the channel out. And then on top of that, remember that we have Myth Lords that's going to be going live on Kickstarter in October. And you can help support it and get the game early before it hits any stores. And you're going to be able to get figures with it that's not going to appear in stores at all. So we will have exclusives. And you can sign up on the description below has the link where you can just sign up. It's free. Just hit follow and that's it. All right, so definitely check that out. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys on the next episode. And let me know what you guys think. Are you collecting anything? Are you just here to see what Marvel and DC are doing? Let me know. All right, see you guys on the next episode. Bye-bye.